You're still watching this SK on your Journey channel on Multi TV. It's also available on your Go TV channel 144 and your DSTV channel 421. Now, talk of a repeat of the Leicester City fairy tale, and you'll not be far from right. And I obviously want to stick to that very football fraternity. And tell me how many were not surprised when an otherwise unknown Leicester City won the English Premiership. Well, that feat was chalked on the back of a previous season where dominant forces in the major European leagues had given away their titles. Well, here in Ghana, the 2016 Premier League title race is done. And Wow Stars have, just like Leicester City, won the championship for the first time in their history. Now, though the last match was fraught with a bit of controversy, the team from the Upper West region braced the odds in an otherwise unexpected situation. Now, how did they do that? That's the key question. I'm not sure. But George Addo Jr. is very sure, and he has a lot more details. He's joining me in the studio with a lot more of those ones. George, thank you very much for joining us. Rather unusual for us to have such a topical discussion on news that's relating to sports, but Wow Stars, I don't know, but it's shocking to... It's really shocking.
Those who have not necessarily been following the Ghana Premier League, actually. But for those who follow the Ghana Premier League this season, it's no surprise. They started very well the season. They had a quiet preseason, so not too many really paid attention to what Wow Stars were doing, but they had a fantastic preseason. I remember that it's just one of those teams who have not really moved away from something so different from what they've been doing in the previous seasons. Now, in the previous seasons, they've been finishing fifth, they've been finishing fourth and thereabouts. So they actually are forced to reckon with somehow if you talk about the mid-table. The difference for them this season was they were able to have a fantastic away record. In the Ghana Premier League, when you win away, you are likely, when you win more games away, you are likely to win the Premier League because teams at home obviously get the points that they're looking for. True. Now, Wow Stars at the moment have 51 points. About 15 points of that came from away wins. Wow. And in the crucial decider against Adriana Stars yesterday, it was because they had won the game against Adriana Stars when the season started. That was the huge thing that separated them from Adriana Stars. Like Adriana Stars, like Wow Stars, they have been very consistent with the sort of team they had. Only that there was a lot of talk about Adriana Stars because they kept the 2009 winning squad and they added a lot of great players like Zakaria Momoni, fantastic players, Richard Impong from Kotoko joining. Wow Stars were really, really quiet. The first time they gave us a hint that this was a team to look forward to, I actually running commentary at Accra Sports Stadium, was when Wow Stars played against Accra Hartseville. And you remember that Kenichi at the time was soaring with Hartseville and we were doing so many things. It was a Wow Stars team that broke Hartseville down and won that game in Accra by 3-1. That is where everything started. They beat Adriana Stars. They beat Kumasi Asante Kotoko. They had a fantastic run. So, yes, getting into the final rounds, yes, somewhere in the mid when they had their players moving into national team for national team assignment, that was when we realized that they were shaking a bit. But really, they had done all the work that needed to be done, and all they needed to do finally was win the game against Adriana Stars and pick the trophy. It's been fantastic. And they've done this also with a coach who is unsung, really. Enos Adepa was assistant coach of Jimmy Kobler, then the Wow Stars coach, and has worked with a couple of Division 1 and Division 2 teams, also very unknown. So it's a super story for the Ghana Premier League in that Wow Stars have gone all the way to pick this one. I think it's totally deserved.
I see. I was reading up on this a bit, and there have been a few instances where some of the teams they have played against have come out to criticize officiating one way or the other, with some suggesting that, well, maybe it's because the team is in a way linked to some people in high places. That's how come they are doing so well.
I think, first of all, that's what the problem is. Every team in the Ghana Premier League, if you've realized it, has a representation. The executive committee of the Ghana Football Association. Now that's really where we stand now. So it will be difficult to pick and choose at this point. Now you want to make the case for Adriana Stars, as they will say. They want to make the case for Adriana Stars and say that the penalties were dubious. Throughout the season, we've had a lot of complaints from almost every club, all the 16 clubs, in saying that I feel that the referee didn't do the right thing, I feel the referee didn't do the right thing. But you realize that teams complain only when they go away. When they play at home, everything seems to be fine. So in a couple of games the Adriana Stars have played at home too, there are teams that have visited the Adriana Stars and Doma and have complained about it. Teams have visited Liberty Professional, have complained about it. Teams have visited Inter Allies in Tema, have complained about it. So where does all this come to? I think we have a major topic about officiating and we need to improve on that. That's the point.
But how would you describe this season's officiating? How is it? How good or bad?
The first round was cool. The first round was cool. Then along the line, we had a few things, coming up. And in these situations, it's always very difficult. Some of them are very. I mean, there was one game between Adriana Stars and Brecum Chelsea. I mean, when a player tried a scissor kick and fell down, and it was still awarded the penalty. And I was wondering, how did this really happen? It's difficult to crack the brain.
The player tried a scissor kick.
He tried a scissor kick and he fell down. And the referee, awarded a penalty in favor of Adriana Stars without anyone touching him. Wow. But again, the reason why we cannot be always right is that we see very, very short videos. Maybe 7 seconds video, 9 seconds video. And the point is that if you were not there, you might be really confused with what you're seeing, because from the angle that you see, you say, okay, this is a penalty. Yeah. But the referees have often come out to give us reasons why they took this decision or the other decision. The truth is that we've had referees being banned this season. Referees have been punished for not doing the right thing, as I said. So we cannot put officiating at 100%. We can put officiating maybe between 70% and 80% for this season, or maybe go close, maybe 60%, 70% for this season. But as to what extent officiating would ensure one team didn't win or not is very difficult, because I still put Adriana Stars and Wild Stars on the scale. Adriana Stars at the beginning of the season had lots of issues with the management team, had lots of issues with their team. So the first 3 games, they lost it. Techiman won there. I mean, we had Wild Stars win there as well. They lost to Inter Allies in Tema. Now, these were the defining games for them, if you ask me. And then it has come all the way to be them. So going into the final game, Adriana Stars were hoping they would get a draw. But you thought about it, and Wild Stars that whole season haven't lost there. They haven't lost at WA. All they have done is picked up draws and won about close to 12 games there. There was really no way Adriana Stars were going to win. So officiating, we have to deal with that. That's a part of our football. We need to improve on that. Clubs being associated with members of the executive committee. Every club is associated with a member of the executive committee. So, and as a matter of fact,
it's no surprise if the president of the FA happens to own this club.
Yes, because if you want to be a part of the Ghana Football Association, you must have a club. You must be involved with a club. That's what the statute states right now. So if you do not have a club or you're not involved with a club, you cannot even be part of the Ghana Football Association. That's where to start from. So that shouldn't really be it. We must rather try to give the bodies powers. The referees appointment committee must have its power to do what it wants to do, not necessarily because a big man has called here and there. Now, there are loads of allegations out there, but for all these allegations, there's not one evidence to prove what you're saying. Because you can assume that, okay, because Nyantechi is the FA president, and because Wild Stars belongs to Nyantechi, there could be an attempt to want to take a referee that will help them. But unless you're able to track the phone call and give us that call, and we can hear the voice that Nyantechi called this man and that happened, it'll be very, very difficult to do it. On the surface of things, we know that we have to improve officiating. We also know that our game has to improve all around. We need to work in getting sponsorship. These are blocks that we have to go. But take nothing away from this Wild Stars team, that everyone who has followed the league, I mean, irrespective of what happened, yesterday, I think Wild Stars won the league in our hearts after the first round. They surprised everyone. Very energetic team. Players we had not really seen before, but the back 6, the likes of Richard Atta, Emmanuel Okran, these are fantastic players. You watch out for the best 11 for the season, and Wild Stars will be ranking there.
Obviously, worthy winners they are. We need to celebrate them. Congratulations to Wild Stars. But now comes the bigger test. The African stage, the African continent, the Champions League. And over the years, it's not really been a good team for Ghana.
Yeah, that's been the problem. The problem is that for most of our teams, the target set is first. I think the target set is the first problem, because the target set is, let's get into the money zone. If you do the calculations of the money zone and all, even going into the money zone, you probably might not get enough money to cater for all that you have put in. Our clubs are not there yet economically. So financially, they are handicapped. Whether they're going to get support from government, get support from the Ghana Football Association, sometimes get support from MTN if they are qualified from the MTN FA Cup route, is still not enough. And in dealing with such things, apart from your team playing at the level, you need to get the money to do all of that. there's an argument though that somehow our teams have not played at the level. That's the first point to look at, because you look at the performances of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, say against the Bejaya, when you expect that Kumasi Asante Kotoko should ably deal with the Bejaya and go, they go and lose. Say that the Hearts of Oak should be able to deal with an AS Police of Benin and go. They failed in those respects, but it's because if the clubs do not have enough money to take care of their players and condition them to participate in all the competitions available. There was the Ghana Premier League ongoing, there will be the CAF competition ongoing, there might be an FA Cup competition ongoing. If you don't have enough money to do all of these, your players might not just be in the right spirit and right down. Now, I think that for Wild Stars, they can go out there and prove us wrong. We have seen Brecum Chelsea, when they also won the league, Brecum Chelsea went all the way and got into the group stage of the Champions League and did very well for themselves. So it's open, but the key thing we need is money to make it go, and the management committee of these teams should set it out there that they are good enough. The other question though is, can they keep their star players? The likes of Emmanuel Okran and Richard Arthur we're talking about, already clubs are looking to take them away. And once you play your first game in Africa, start doing one of two things. You are likely to sell off your players. And once you sell off your players to your opponents, we've been talking about TP Mazembe. TP Mazembe has close to 5 Ghanaian players. Now and they are making the difference. Solomon Asante, Daniel Nieje, Yao Frimpong are making the difference for TP Mazembe when they even play us. The last time when Mazembe played here in Ghana, they made a massive difference against, Midyama SC. And so we sell our own players and they come back to us. So it's a question of, do you have enough money? Because the Brecum Chelsea story I just cited, Emmanuel Chami, who was then the bankroll of the team, had enough money to keep the boys here to do the job, and after he sold them to TP Mazembe. So it's a sad one for Ghana football, and I mean in terms of the clubs and how they put this together. We need more sponsorship, and I hope that Wild Stars can go all the way to make this work.
George, many thanks for joining us, and we wish them all the best anyway. And once again, worthy winners they are. Congratulations to the entire team, All Stars, and obviously that issue of officiating is not going to die.
No, it's not going to die. But even in the big leagues, there are issues with officiating. It's just that here sometimes it's grave. It's grave. You just can't fathom and how some decisions are given.
I'm going to get that very clip, that bicycle kick.
I'll give it to you.
I'm going to get that very clip. But George, thank you very much. And that was George Addo Jr. joining us in the studio to tell us a lot more about that fairy tale story, should I put it that way, with All Stars winning their first ever Ghana Premiership. Pretty interesting, though. Pretty interesting. But I'm sure he'll bring us a lot more later when he joins us with some business. But when he joins us with sports, I beg your pardon. But time now for business with Emmanuel Abuajiafe, who has been standing by for some time now. Well, Ima, you can take over.